Hey there, welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm your host, Sam Basher, and let's break down the new trailer for Season 2 of Jessica Jones, returning March 8th, 2018. Ooh boy, I'm excited. I was a big fan of Season 1, and cannot wait for more Jessica Jones cursing at strangers on the street and day drinking. Hooray! My favorite superheroes do that.
Kids don't do that, that's bad.
The lesson I learned here is that no one's ever allowed to be happy in the Marvel Netflix shows. Maybe Luke Cage, but barely. Let's go Easter egg hunting, shall we? You know the drill. Spoiler warning for Jessica Jones Season 1, the other Marvel Netflix shows, Season 2 of Jessica Jones comics, etc. Let's get going. Roll the clip.
Third glass tonight.
Put it on my tab.
You drinking to remember or forget?
Giving a shit won't get you a better tip.
What a depressing intro. So Jessica is not doing so hot after the events of The Defenders Season 1. She's drinking herself silly, not in a fun way though, in a dangerous way. But we are finally getting more clips of what I assume to be the death of Jessica's family, specifically her mother, father, and younger brother. That's her whole family. I didn't know if you knew that. That's very sad, it's very tragic. Nothing too much to glean from this, but still, all these clips will be important later on. Let's keep going.
Can't help looking back. Highway.
My whole family was killed in a car accident. Someone did horrific experiments on me. And now this super vigilante shit keeps coming at me.
Do you know Captain America?
Now in these clips, we actually find out what happened to Jessica, or get a better idea of what happened following the events of her family's deaths. Now in the comics, and from what I've gathered from the first season of the show, there was a car accident. Some chemicals may have come into contact with her, kind of Daredevil-ish a little bit. She gets powers and then boom. Now in the first season, we find out that she moves in with Trish and her mom, but it's easy peasy, makes sense. However, it now looks like she was experimented on following the crash, and then she was able to escape, maybe? Or possibly she was allowed to escape and she's been monitored ever since. Cut this girl some slack, please. She is not doing well. Also, on top of all of this, we now know she's being recognized for killing Kilgrave, or possibly even stopping the Hand from digging up those dragon bones and sinking New York into the Defenders. I say that out loud and it still doesn't make any sense. Anywho, this leads to an awesome nod to the larger MCU. This kid asks if she knows Captain America. How adorable. Based on timelines though, Cap might be charged with treason for not signing the Sokovia Accords, you know, along with Iron Man, Team Cap, Team Iron Man, you remember. Let's just pretend that he's still Captain America. It makes sense, he'll still be able to keep all of his toys without feeling bad. This isn't the first time Captain America has been mentioned with his full title. Luke Cage was even referred to as Harlem's Captain America, but it is always fun. But maybe that means Cap will go recruit Jessica Jones for his underground freedom fighter Avengers, you know, because he ran away at the end of Civil War. What's he been doing between then and Infinity War? Maybe, who knows? Also, it's worth mentioning the father of this kid is played by J.R. Ramirez, and he should have a pretty prominent role in this season of Jessica Jones. He actually pops up a couple more times in this trailer, I believe, so keep your peepers peeled. He could even maybe become one of Jessica's love interests, possibly, who knows? I know Luke's over with Claire in Harlem, so they can't get together, which is always gonna be a bummer. Also, I'm just so glad we have Trish back. I miss her every day of my life. She's amazing. Also, we get this awesome shot that slides through the digital camera, little viewfinder, to capture some photos of some perps. Who could they be? Soon, young one, soon. Next clip.
I want to absorb Alias investigations.
You don't want me, you just want to eliminate the competition.
I never take no for an answer.
How rapey of you. Something happened behind these doors. I have 17 years of questions, and they are deep.
Now this clip of a point of view moving through the viewfinder of the camera to spy on those two guys, and the clip of Jessica sitting and drinking on the edge of the building seem to be connected in some way, you know? Seems like the same place. Look at the building in the background, look at the building they're in. Makes sense, hooray. Also hooray, day drinking on the side of a building.
Do not do that. That's super dangerous.
But don't forget those guys we were spying on, because we see one of those guys in the next scene saying he wants to buy out Alias Investigations. That's Jessica Jones' company, if you happen to forget. Also, fun fact, Alias is both the name of the PI office that Jessica Jones owns and the name of the Jessica Jones debut comic from Marvel, Alias. Also, it's been said by a couple of the creative people behind the show that there will be multiple villains this season, so based on Jess spying on him and him trying to buy up her business, he will probably be a villain. Some sort of PI who's gone bad, maybe? Also, yay, Malcolm's back. Miss you too, bud. Also, yay, we know now that her mother's name is Alyssa Jones, based on that certificate on the wall. Next clip.
Jess, knowing what was done to you might help you.
We were made here. Me and something else. The only way to find it is to open the door wider.
So it's much clearer from the first trailer to this one what this season will be about, finding out who Jessica is and what turned her into a superhero. And it looks like Trish Walker, bestest of friends, is here to help in more ways than one. Also, please pay attention to "We were made here," that line. Jessica goes on to say that she and something else were created in this secret lab. Possibly the lab is hidden within this theater, this dirty theater that they're walking around in, I'm guessing. But it was hinted to at the end of season 1 that IGH, a paramilitary group that gave Nuke his pills that made him super crazy and crazy strong, had something to do with the chemicals that gave Jess her powers. So maybe this line here is actually cut together from 2 different conversations to make, a very enticing little soundbite for this trailer. Who knows? What I'm saying is, sure, maybe there's just one threat out there that has Jessica's powers and is running around killing people, hurting people. But what if Nuke makes a return this season and there are some more soldiers just like him? Just an opinion. Now let's check out this shot here. Notice the attacker's hair. We see another glimpse of this person later on, so remember that long curly hair. Next clip.
You were brought back from the dead. The powers were a side effect.
How many others are there? Like me?
Let it go. There is a killer you cannot control.
I didn't ask for any of this.
So Jessica made it back to her hellish origins, and we see some sort of device that was used during her resurrection. It's got a big arm. And now here's this fun little twist. Like I said previously, she was in a coma and then woke up with powers. There's nothing about her dying in the comics. That's a fun little twist that this show came up with. This show has taken some liberties in telling us something new. How fun. Next, let's focus on these metallic cubes right here on her thigh. Now, first you'd probably think, magnets, how do they work? Deep cut internet joke anyways, but I think it has to do with her abilities, specifically her enhanced strength. Check out those marks left on her right thigh. It looks like these cubes are injecting something into Jessica. Could this have to do with her abilities, or are these scientists just slowly regenerating parts of her body until she's fully resurrected? That seems tedious, but hey, I've never resurrected anybody successfully. We then meet Janet McTeer's character, who is yet to be named, but has been described as having a very big hand in Jessica's past. Possibly one of the scientists that worked on her, maybe has something to do with Kilgrave, maybe, or, here's the crazy fan theory part, maybe this is Alyssa Jones, Jessica's mom. Alyssa Alias, interchangeable last letters. Maybe it's a hint that Alyssa might still be alive. She knows an awful lot about Jessica, maybe I'm onto something here. But anyway, there's a hint to possibly more superpowered people out there. Where could they be? We then see Jessica jumping off a Ferris wheel, which is actually something we've seen before. I didn't point this out the first time around. Back it up just a little bit to the photo of Jess and her dead brother. Bam! Ferris wheel, right back there. Exact same one. Looks exactly the same. Maybe some of her family is alive after all, or the villain knows about this and is just toying with her. Again, people can't be happy on these shows. Next, we see a bloody dead man in the back of a white van. No leads on the identity, but he does come up again soon. Stay tuned. Remember all these details, but also celebrate since Hogarth is back as well. Yay, I love this cast. We also see another dead body and some wreckage, and Jessica is very upset. Is the anti-Jessica going around killing people for no reason? Do they mean something to her? Think about it while we roll the next clip.
Jessica might not want a sidekick, but she needs one.
You're not super. You're a ticking time bomb.
Keep telling me who I am. How dare you?
What if facing it makes me worse?
Now here we see Jessica is somewhere on a beach with Trish comforting her, possibly after a big revelation about her past. Everyone likes to go to the beach to contemplate things. Maybe she's got Purple Man nightmares. Oops, I'm getting ahead of myself. The next clip is of a man attacking Trish, and he looks somewhat familiar, don't he? Well, if you looked up the IMDb of J.R. Ramirez, he would look familiar. It's kind of blurry, I know, but if you freeze frame and you focus kind of hard, it does look a lot like Oscar J.R. Ramirez's character, who is the father that we mentioned earlier. Could he be whammied by Purple Man or Purple Man's ghost, or maybe he's another villain? There are a lot of options here, but Trish can handle herself. Listen to this audio.
Jessica might not want a sidekick, but she needs one.
I'm thinking this season will finally be the time for Trish to become her superhero persona, Hellcat. I mean, come on, wouldn't it be awesome? It's freaking Hellcat. She's awesome. Now, Hellcat, if you don't know, is a street-level hero with martial arts training and some retractable claws, because the cat part of her name. Sometimes she's got psychic senses, which could possibly happen in this world. Maybe she gets some of the stuff that gave Jess her powers, or gave Purple Man his powers, and that gives her powers. But truth be told, I don't need them. She's great as is. The next shot we get is Jessica staring at a glass of some alcohol, possibly whiskey, probably, and it looks like she could maybe think about giving it all up. Try to tackle her alcoholism in this season. It would be a compelling story, and it could maybe lead to her and Luke getting back together. Maybe she kind of cleans up, her act a little bit. Maybe she's a little happier. We then see Jessica chasing down Janet McTeer's character in the same bar we saw before where they were talking, and she gives her a quick punch and knocks her out into that glass on the window. It breaks. It's pretty brutal. Do we think McTeer's character is in on all this villainy this season? Most likely, but can she take that kind of punch? We'll have to see. I don't think Jessica would straight up kill her right there unless she's super duper 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 evil, but maybe McTeer can take it. Maybe she's enhanced. We then see Jessica face off against the PI that we saw earlier, who probably has just crossed Jessica because she looks pissed. I like this guy's look though, so I'm interested to see what the writers do with his character. Finally, in this clip, we see Jessica in what looks to be a prison of sorts, maybe a locked room. My guess is that she's gonna get captured at least once during this season. All superheroes do every once in a while, but hey, whoops, captured her. Next clip.
What are you gonna do?
I don't know. Depends on if I can get through this night without losing my shit.
Jessica Jones!
It takes a monster to stop a monster.
Ooh, things are starting to ramp up quick. Now let's focus on this clip first. Looks to be dirt and ash raining down on Jessica slowly. We did see an explosion earlier in the trailer, so this could be the ash from that building burning, or possibly this could be part of her PTSD from Kilgrave and the death of her family. Next, we get someone in an office being thrown through a glass door, and based on the outfit, it looks like our PI friend from earlier. So we should expect some hand-to-hand combat between this PI and Jessica at least a few times in this season, hopefully. We then get a glimpse of Jessica being detained by police officers on the street, which seems to be the same place that she and Malcolm were when they found the dead body in the back of that white van. Oh, the white van's coming up again. Don't worry, it's gonna come up one more time in this video. Stay tuned. But the question is, why is Jessica being arrested? Is it because there's evidence at the crime scene that points to Jessica? Maybe the powers that the killer had are similar to Jess? We then see a pretty messed up skull that is promptly dropped by Jess, and then she and Trish freak out. My two guesses: this is another person experimented on just like Jess, or possibly a paramilitary volunteer for IGH that needed to disappear. It's dark, but maybe. We then see Hogarth weeping, possibly over Jessica, or maybe someone broke her heart. Who knows? But possibly heartbreak though, because later we see her slow dancing with a pretty lady, and no one can be happy here. But anyways, a cool part that followed this scene that got me real excited looks to be a jailbreak from a hospital, or possibly the facility that brought Jess back to life. Most likely the latter. Next, we see Jess looking to be shaking down a gangster, but I might be prejudiced just because of that gold chain, the open collar right there. But if this is true, this does mean that we'll be getting some scenes or episodes dedicated to Jess just being a full-blown PI, which I am into. But here's a question. Who is chasing Malcolm down the street? My guess, someone who was a part of the group who gave Jess her powers, or maybe Malcolm tried to go out on his own and things got heavy. Think about who that could be, and on top of that, think about how this woman with the curly hair attacking this man with the outdated Bluetooth looks to have the same hair as the woman who attacked Jessica in that church earlier. And that man looks to be wearing the same clothes as the torn apart body we saw in the back of the white van from earlier as well. Ooh, it's even the same van. Or there's a lot of white vans in this universe. So close to the end, we see Trish holding a gun to someone. Who could that be? Who could be scaring her so much? We then see Jess about to do the deed in some paint. Could that be Oscar, the father from earlier? The last thing we see before we cut to black is Jess running towards an explosion. Now either this is a real-time event, or this could be a flashback or a nightmare of the day that she lost her family. Either way, I think she'll make it, but I kind of hope this season will help define her powers a little bit better. Final clip, please.
What did they do to us?
Speaking of needing answers, how in the heck is Kilgrave alive? What a haunting way to introduce him in this trailer. I really love it. So patronizing, and we barely saw him. Now here's a question, is he alive? Now in the comics, the Purple Man does have a healing factor of sorts, so he could have faked his death or just healed up from it over time, or alternatively, and this could be more interesting, this is Jess's PTSD or inner demons manifesting. But those are my theories. What do you guys think? What are you most excited about for season 2 of Jessica Jones? Let me know in the comments down below, or on Twitter at OnlyStupidAnswers. Yank out those vowels from stupid. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to New Rockstars for more breakdowns. I'm Sam Basher, and I'll see you next time.